If you have any questions, either about this presentation or anything else business related, please reach out to Elena. She'll get you in touch with the most appropriate person. And we have an incredible team here that can help you with pretty much every aspect of your business. So please take advantage of those services. And at any time, if you have a question, please pop it in the chat. Elena, will you be on for the duration to moderate?
Yes.
Perfect. And then there will be opportunities for questions. If you want to share what you're working on, we can troubleshoot. So please use this as an opportunity to get any of your questions answered. And if I don't know the answer, I am very happy to learn it for you, figure it out and get back to you. So, all right. And as I said, this is going to be a little bit different in terms of what you're used to seeing. So, we'll just start going through it. And so there's going to be a lot of bouncing around because the way I decided to do this one is everything is going to be done live. So every technique I'm going to teach you, normally there's lots of screenshots and step-by-step instructions. This one we're going live and we're doing everything live so you can see where everything is. So the format's a little different, more interactive, and I hope you love it. So as Elena said, we're here to train, educate, and support. And I'm going to turn off my video so my eyes are not all over the place. All right. So we're here to train, educate, and support entrepreneurs of both new venture and established small businesses. We're positioned within a nationwide network of SBDCs, and we offer resources, key connections at the state and national level, workshops, and online and in-person support that helps equip us, the Ocean State entrepreneurs, for the next level of growth. So anything that you need help with, I'm sure we have somebody that could help you along the way. So a little bit about me. I'm a marketing educator. I've been helping businesses for over 10 years scale their businesses, and I do everything from funnel hacking, email marketing, SEO, ads, everything digital is in my wheelhouse. And I have transitioned into an educator versus a practitioner. So I go into businesses and help train their teams to help them be better marketers. And so we're going to begin at the very tippity top, which is a brand kit. So about half of you said you have a brand kit. So we're going to walk through how to make sure all of you have a brand kit. Okay. So the easiest way to do this is when you're in Canva, I have everything set up in a folder here. So that way, I think I can share these out to you so you could see the interactive assets. And so when you come over into your search, you want to go into templates and then select brand kit. And then you'll see all types of templates in here. And if you don't have one in place, this is a good place to start because you can get some ideas, and you may have your colors in place, you may have your fonts, but the best thing to do is get it all in one place. And these templates are all through the free version. And the way this works is you just pick any template that jumps out at you and say, like, this moody one looks good today on this Thursday morning, and say you want to customize this. Every single thing in all of these templates is editable. So when you click on anything up top, this bar right here will pop up. And that's where you can make changes to everything. So as you click around, you see if it's an image, it'll ask you to edit. If it's a color, you can change the shape. You can animate, you can move the position, you can fade it, you can do anything you want. So what you want to do is click on a color you like, and say you're looking at this and you're like, I like this color, it's just a tad too dark. So you click on the color up top, and then when you hit this plus sign, it gives you the hex grid, and you can move it around, and you'll see it'll start to change your color over on the right. And then if you're like, oh, actually, this is perfect, then what you want to do is come down here and copy this number. That's your hex number. And you want to put it in underneath. So that way you don't have to constantly look up your color. It's all ready to go. And then when you're creating assets, it allows you to be cohesive and consistent. And that way you're not constantly trying to figure out what your colors are. Is it on brand? Does it make sense? This goes the same for your fonts. When you click on anything, you come up to this. This is what this font is called. So when you're creating your web pages, or when you're creating a social media post or presentation or story, you want to make sure everything in your brand is consistent. Now, if you have a paid version of this, of Canva, you can create what's called a brand kit, an official brand kit. So if you go over, and it's not on this one, under brand, and this is part of the paid version. And what happens is, and we'll duplicate this because I don't want to lose my homepage. When you click on your brand, and you can see anything that has this little crown means it's a paid version. So if you go into your brand, you can have multiple brand kits. And as you can see, this is the one I created for this presentation. And what this means is when you're creating anything, say you're going to do a social media post, you just type in whatever you want. And let's pick a nice, easy one to edit. So you come in here and you want to customize. When you come into edit and you click on these colors, remember anything you click on, the bar to edit is going to be up top. So if you click on this and you go over, it'll preset your saved colors for you. So it'll have your palette ready. So that way, if you're like, that's my brand color, and then this, you go to your color, and then this one is your brand color, it'll make changes for you and save everything. This is part of the premium version. So if you don't have the premium version, you could still create your brand kit. You'll just have to keep referencing it and go back and forth. If you have the premium version, it'll pull it up for you. Any questions? All right, let's move on. Creating a QR code. So when you're creating a QR code, this could be for anything, whether you're creating a flyer, a business card, a story, any place you need a QR code. So say you're creating a flyer. So you want to come over, create a flyer. And let's pick something simple. Grand opening. And say you're going to have a business, you're going to open soon. You can come in here and create whatever assets you want. And then let's move all of this up so we can have space for our QR code. And then move all of this down. So we're going to insert a QR code. So what you're going to do is you're going to come down on your far left, and you're going to come down to apps. I already use this, so you can see it right here, but typically there'll be like a 9 grid of little dots. And then you click QR code, you enter the URL you want it to point to. We'll do canva.com. And then you generate a QR code and it'll put it right there for you. And then all you have to do is move it where you want it. And you can put this on any document you have. So if you're giving a presentation somewhere, and at the end of your slideshow, you want to lead somebody to a website or an offer, whatever you have, pop a QR code in there and it'll direct it to you. You don't need a third-party service to be able to go in and do a QR code. This works great on business cards. You know, instead of typing people to say, you know, go to www.whatever, put in a QR code and it'll lead them directly to where you want to send them. Any questions?
Amanda, we had a question from Bill asking if there's any way to figure out what fonts that you're using today.
Yep.
I know you said you would be sharing some sort of folder with them. So
yep. So that's a great question, Bill. So if you created you said Bill, right?
Yep.
If you created the asset in Canva, all you have to do is like click on it and it'll tell you right here, like this bar, whatever you click on, this bar will pop up. If it's not in Canva, I'm sure there's a way. Let's Google it. I bet if you just put, what font am I using? I bet there's a website where you could go in, font finder. And I bet you could go in and identify your font easily. So I don't think you can do that in Canva, or at least I don't know how to do it, because when you upload into Canva, typically you're uploading images or PDFs, and they're not as easy to read. So I would use something like Google a font finder. What font am I using? And then go in and find your font.
Thank you.
My
I
pleasure.
think that's good for questions. One person asked if the paid version is worth it. We're having a lot of positive feedback on, yes, it is worth it.
It's absolutely worth it. It makes things so much simpler. You can have teams, and then you can also use it to upload directly into your social media. You can create content calendars, and then you have access to some of the elements, movements, music, images that are not available in the free version. If you're absolutely bootstrapping it, the free would be fine. Otherwise, it's worth, I think it's like $12 a month. It's absolutely worth it. And yes, you can use your QR code if you only have an Instagram page. Wherever you want to send them, just put in that URL and just make sure you're putting your handle. Okay. So using stock images. We're gonna go back to our social media and say you are creating something and you don't have a robust image library, like you don't have a ton of images on your own, it's completely fine. So what you would do is just delete this image and click delete. And then here's the little app thing. There you go. So you want to look into apps, and then it'll pop up all the apps. And then these are all the different apps you can integrate with. But for this, you're going to use just Pexels. And then I think I have it down here. I like Pexels better than Pixabay. I find better images, but look at both. And then say you want somebody drinking coffee. Type in drinking coffee or coffee. And then just drag and drop it right over here. So if you're looking for images and you don't have a ton, and sometimes when you're going and finding images online, they're royalty free, and online you're not always sure like what you need to do for attribution. But if you just come straight in here and use it, you don't have to worry about these because these are already licensed with the Canva. Makes it nice and easy, skips you a step. You don't have to go to the Pexels website, figure out which one is open domain, just do it here, and it makes it nice and simple. So grouping assets. So as you just saw me move stuff around when I was creating the QR code. So if you've ever noticed when you're trying to move one thing in Canva, it all can get messed up, right? The spacing gets all messed up. So what you want to do is you can do it two ways. You can click and then hit shift and click all of the different things you want to be part of it and move it. And that groups it. And then you can group it all in one. So that way it's just together and then it's always moving. Oh, I didn't do the outside things. Or you can like highlight like this and move it this way. So it depends on how much you want to integrate, if you want it to be grouped forever or not. So if you're just moving everything up, you can do it like that, or moving it down, whatever you want to do. But it depends on like how static you want things to be. If you want it to be together forever, hit group. You can always ungroup, or you can just highlight and then move it that way. So to do it again, you just click on either shift with all of the different things to group it, or you just highlight this way, and then it'll move it around this way, like drag and drop and cover. Makes it easier. And then also, like if you're looking at a couple of things and you want to, so say you had two text box and you had this over here and then say this over here, and you wanted the spacing to be better, you just hit the 2 shifts button and then come up to file and then settings, and then you could move it around. No, position, I'm sorry. So go to position and you could say you want it top, you want it bottom, middle, and you can move around and figure out the spacing and it'll do it for you so everything is nice and aligned. We're rocking and rolling. Any questions?
Yes, one person asked, is it easy when using the phone app to do that whole centering thing, or is it more difficult?
I personally do not like the phone app. I don't find it as user-friendly as the desktop. But also my phone is not very big. And for design things, I like to do them on the desktop. I don't find the app as easy. What I do like about the app is if everything is finalized, then it's super easy to upload into social media. So if you don't have a paid version and you're looking to upload directly, it's super easy to use the app for stuff like that. But for editing and all, like, I don't find it easy at all. So editing elements. So elements are all these different things that you could add to your assets to make them pop. So whether it's lines or shapes, you know, graphics, stickers, whatever, almost everything is mostly editable. So you can scroll down and look at all these different collections, you know, all these different things if you want to add them in. So let's see if we can pick something simple so that way we're not overcomplicating. Let's do something. Let's do a bee. All right. Ooh, where'd the bee go? All right, there's the bee. And maybe this wasn't a good choice because of all the stuff we have. So let's get rid of a bunch of stuff just so we have a clean palette. So here's this little bee. She's cute, right? So say we have this little bee and we decide we want these colors to be more in line with our brand. So as I said, when you click on something up here, always pops the things you're able to edit. So no matter what you click on, you'll up here, it'll tell you what you're able to edit about it. So when you come to the bee, again, you have your colors. And then I already have our kit filled out. So you can go in here and change the color. Say we want them to be yellow because it's a bee. And then we can make it yellow. And this is one of the advantages of having your brand kit because you don't have to go and find your code. So this also works for, let's see, something with movement. So all the things you can edit are right here. So you see the yellow, the blue, and the pink. So if you click on it, it'll tell you up here what you're able to edit. So if say you come here and you're like, this yellow is not super on brand, let's make it green. And then you just come over and you're like, I'm not really the pink. Let's make that yellow. And then the blue, let's make it black. So whatever you can edit will always pop up here. And some of them are not editable. I'd say probably 90-something%. 97% are movable or editable, even the movable stuff. So I see a question about downloading. So when you're downloading these, if you have mixed media, so if you have some with movement and some not, when you download them, you have to make sure that you have either the MP4 or the GIF selected, because if you just do PNG or JPEG, it's going to download as an image and not an actual movie or GIF file. So you always want to make sure that you're selecting the correct file download type. And when you print things, obviously there's not going to be any movement. And that could be why you're losing movement when you download. All right. We just talked about GIFs. Let's add a GIF right there. So let's go back here. Let's delete this guy. It's distracting. So The thing with GIFs is, so typically wherever there's images, if you delete, they'll have this image background, which makes it really easy to drag and drop an image into. And then when you double click on it, you can move it around. So say you like this image and you're like, I don't like that angle, you double click, and then you could even, if it's within this parameter, you can't make it smaller, but you can make it bigger this way. And if you do it this way, then you can move it around. And then, but if you want to add a GIF to this, come down here, and then we just got to find the GIFs or GIFs. And then you have a ton. So you can just pick whatever you want. And just remember, it's not always going to fall nicely into this picture thing. So just make sure, let's add a page and let's look at some design so we can get something simpler. And then you come back to your apps, and then you come to your Giphy. And then let's add a GIF right there. And that's a bad one, it's really dark. She's cute. Let's see what we can align, change here. So sometimes when you click on things, you can see, you can make them like, there we go. And then again, when you're downloading this GIF, make sure that, make sure you're downloading as an MP4 or the GIF. And that's an easy way to download. I mean, to add a GIF and download. Any questions so far? I see a question about LinkedIn. So typically I like to download things in MP4 versus a GIF because video is widely accepted again among all the platforms. The only exception is when I'm creating emails, the GIFs work fine in email templates. So if I'm using this as like an email header, so if you're creating an email template for your email list, I find the GIFs work perfectly fine. But for social media, I always download MP4 because it's more widely accepted. Text to image. This is a cool one. So with everything going on with AI, sometimes when you're trying to find an image, you can't find what you're looking for. So I always start with an image block. It just makes it super easy to add images. When you come over to apps, if you click on text to image, say you want a lion in New York City. It'll create through AI almost anything. So there you go. It creates this for you. And then if you like what it does, then you can select it. And if not, you might have to refine a little bit. And see, I made some misspellings. So you're able to create images. So say you wanted a penguin in a scarf. And sometimes you will get exactly what you're looking for, and sometimes you won't. There you go, penguin in a scarf. So you're like, oh, look how cute. And then right here is your penguin in a scarf. So this allows you to find images that, you know, if you were to look at pixels and look for a penguin in a scarf, you're probably not going to find it unless it's like a vector drawing, but this looks pretty real. So, you know, these are really fun. These are really fun if you're, you know, looking for something that's attention grabbing, or if you're looking to add a little bit of humor. This is a great little tool. Any questions on that? All right, I see one question about AI. So yes, Chat GPT is just one of many AI tools that are really popular right now. There's a ton with like recording voices. There's a ton with like if you're giving a presentation and you don't want your eyes to bounce all around, how mine are looking at both screens. It can be kind of wild what the AI can do, but there's a ton of different platforms that are coming out that have AI components to them. And so this is just one of a couple that Canva offers, and we'll go through a couple. All right, carousel ads. This is a big one, right? So let's go into our folder. And so I'm sure you've seen carousel ads on your social media where the lines bleed into one another and it kind of encourages users to scroll. Has anybody seen these where there'll be different elements and they're kind of overlapping, and then it'll look like, you know, you're kind of cutting into another image. The only problem, they're really cool, but the only problem with them is that there are no templates anywhere for them, really. So if you just look up seamless carousel, or there's nothing. So you have to create it, which is fine. So but let's do that. So when you hit create design, you want to come down and choose custom size. And this is where you have to decide how many images you want in your carousel. So for every image you want, number of images you want, you multiply that by 1,000. So for example, if you want 4 images, this will be 4,000, and always by 1,000, because the dimension for those is a 1-to-1 ratio of 1,000 times 1,000. So you create a new design, and this is what will come up for you. And then you can see I already have my grids enabled because I like to have my grids enabled so you can see what the margins you're working at, but you need it for this aspect. And if you don't have it, come over to settings, and then when you first create it, yours will probably look like this. So just come to File, View Settings, Show Grids and Rulers. And then what you want to do is kind of map out each one at 1,000. And sometimes it's hard to get it right on it. You just come over here, drag, and you want to get it each to 1,000, because this creates that perfect square and it acts as a guide for how everything is going to look. So you create your 4 squares, if you had 5 or 6, however many you have, and then you design your ad. So you want things to kind of bleed into each other. So you want to make sure there's like some continuation, so that way you're having that look of things overlapping. So we're going to do a super simple one, just so you can see how it works. And then you want to create, add your images, decide how big you want your squares. And then I like to copy, control V, so that way all of your squares are the same. That way you're not, and it don't have to be, you know, like some of them can be bigger, some of them can be smaller. There are no rules to how this needs to be. Whatever fancies your design mind, right? So you go in and just do whatever you want, make it a little bigger. So that way there's some continuation and flow. You want these to be seamless. And then you go into your pictures. Oh no, we want to do Pixabay. And say we're selling lotion. Pexels, I said, not Pixabay, because I like the Pexels better. So say you're coming in and like this is your product and you want, you know, super fast, just for design, so you can see how it all works. And then you add it in. And then, so you can add elements to this, you can move things around, but you'll see like this square will be 1 image, this would be 2, this would be 3, and this would be 4. You can add text if you want, you know, glow. You can add whatever you want. And then, you can align, you can send, oops, you can send backwards so it's behind your images, so it's not blocking. You can do whatever you want, add images, add text, whatever you want. So then what you're going to do is you download it as one full image. Download PNG or JPEG are your two options. It suggests PNG, so we're going to download that. And I should have named it. It'll be easier to find, but always name your work. So that way, when you're looking for it, it's much easier to find. All right, so it downloaded down here. And then what you want to do is you want to come to this website called Pine Tools. It's free. So you can find this two ways. You can go to Google and put in Pine Tools split image, and it'll bring you right to here, or you can go to Pine Tools Home and search for a split image. And then what you want to do is upload your image. So downloads, and then this was called Untitled, and you can preview. And then you'll see your preview right here. And then you want to split this horizontally. And then you had selected 4 images, right? Because we had the 4,000 times 1,000. Select your 4 and then download here. And you can choose if you want to keep it as a JPEG or PNG, change it or whatever you want to do. I like just keep it same as input, keeps it nice and simple. You split that image and then it'll give you the option to download it as a zip file or to download one by one. I always download by zip because the least amount of work I have to do, the better. That's just how I roll. And then when you open your Pine Tools, this is what it will look like. Drag it over here. So it'll upload it, your 4 images. I have too many things open. It'll upload it like this, and it'll number it for you. So don't have to remember exactly where it was, right? It'll number it for you. And then you want to download all 4, and then you want to go and upload those into your carousel. And so I did a little bit of, I had done one for you. So let's duplicate that because we don't want to lose our homepage. And so I had made one so you can see how it would look. So this is the one I made when I did it on my own. And then when you upload it, it'll appear like this. And so we can go through and upload, and so you can see. And that was, what was it called? Pine Tools folder 2. And then you can select all. This is not moving for me. Cancel. Upload. The upload. And then I can show you how it looks if we just drag it in here. So you can. Oh, I saved this as a PNG. I can't upload over it, but you can see if you just, and we don't want to do that because it changed the image. And then move it around. And you can see what it would look like as a mock-up. And so when your user is looking, it'll slide, a little perfect. This hand. comes over, but when you upload it into social media, it'll be easier because you just upload 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make sure when you're uploading, you remember the order. So just make sure you're placing it in the correct order. And so then your carousel seamless will be like this. All right, any questions on this one? All right, let's see. All right, what platforms accept the use of carousel? So I know Instagram and Facebook do. Not sure if TikTok does. You can have carousel images on websites. Those like more slide on their own. You can have them on timers. I'm not sure what other platforms accept carousels. I know Facebook and Instagram are the two biggest ones. Recording a presentation. So this is pretty simple. If you come over to share, and then if you want to present, you can present and record. So the way you're going to get a recording for this presentation, you can go through and record your own presentation and send it to someone. So if you have, so I do a lot of presentations where I'll provide like I'll do an audit on someone's website or ad account, and then I'll go through and record something and send to you to look. And then I usually was using Loom, but if you create the assets and everything in Canva, it's easier to do it in one platform. So if you just hit present and record, you can add your own little image and then go through and present and record. And this is great if you do anything type of like webinars or trainings, or if you have to give a presentation over video and send it in, you can record directly right here and not have to use an additional platform, which is really cool. And then when you're sharing, you'll see all these different options. So if you hit more, you can present it, you can send to a phone, you can send directly to social media, you can save and download, you can email it directly from here. You can send it to email, like anything you want to do, send it to Slack. That's a big one. So if you work with a team and you have, you can send it to Slack for review. So this right here, like there's an unlimited amount of places you could send this. They have a ton of integrations, so it makes it super easy. You don't have to download and then upload and resend it in email or as an attachment. You can send it directly from here. And the person you're sending it to does not have to have a Canva account to view and edit or provide feedback. All right, let's look at the questions. Are those recordings over the slides or like a video? So the way it would work is similar to the way this presentation is going to work. Whatever you're showing on the screen and whatever you're saying out loud is what's going to be recorded. So it's basically a screen grab, and then it will have the option for you to put over here like your headshot, and you can even have your face live. So if you wanted like people to look at your face when you're talking, that's an option, or you could just upload your headshot or your image. So another cool thing you can do is you can go live on Canva. So the way that would work is, so if you're gonna present and then present in full screen, I believe it is, it might be in presenter view, but we'll try both. And then so you hit present, and then if you come down here, do you see this little thing? It looks like sound waves. So if you click on that, you can go live. And so this works really well. If you're going to do a live training, we could have done this on Canva. We could have given everybody a Canva link, and then you come right to Canva. And then what you do is you hit start a session. And then when your attendees visit Canva Live, they'll get this, you'll send them this code. So that way you can have some security in place, so you don't have random people showing up to your event. You just hit this code. So when you go to Canva Live and you type in this code, you'll be directed to this presentation. So there's a lot of live streaming stuff right now. Like you can obviously go live over Zoom. You can go live over StreamYard. There's a bunch of different platforms that allow you to go live. Simplicity is the name of my game. I like to minimize the number of tools I'm using because then you don't have to log into a bunch of different platforms. And this is a really cool way to create everything you want to create and go live in one stop. So you're not, downloading a presentation, uploading, sharing your screen, and then going live. So this is a super easy way to do it. And the quality is really good. Oop, I stopped sharing. I'm sorry, guys. I meant to exit from all right. Sorry about that. All right. So creating layers. We'll come out of some of these. Oh, I didn't mention this, but if you have a brand, if you do not have a brand kit, and you're not sure what color combinations go well together, or if you have an idea of a color, a main color, but you're looking for some, like if you have a primary and you're looking for a secondary, this coolers.co is a great place to go to, because if you just hit explore trending palettes, it'll give you all types of colors that go well together. So if you decide, say you like this one, all you have to do is hover over and it'll give you the code, and then you can import this directly, like copy and paste the code and put it into Canva, and then you don't have to decide. So if you're like, I really like neutrals, but I don't have the time to go through and manipulate a bunch of different things, you can do that. Or if you're like, I like black, it'll give you all of the color combos that have black in it. And then that way you're able to take a little bit of the design work off your plate, because this website already gives you all the different complementary colors together. Forgot to mention that in the brand kit. All right, so layering. So layering is when you have design elements that go in front of and behind a picture to make it kind of pop and come to life. So that way, one of the hardest things with Canva is like creating images that don't look flat, right? Like you want them to pop off the screen and have some dimension. So layering is a great way to do that. So I created a couple here. As you can see, I did one on my right over here. Where is it? I used it to create this. So we'll go through and show you how to make a layer. Now, this is sometimes a little bit of trial and error. So don't get frustrated the first time you do this. It can be a headache. So the first thing you want to do is you want to upload an image. You can upload your own image, or you could, again, go to Pexels and be like, let's find something here. There was a really cool one I saw when I was looking this technique up. Of dancers, and then so let's find someone dancing if you wanted to add some movement or something to it. So I don't know if this is going to work, and we're going to do this live. So say you're going to add a dancer, and then the first step is to remove the background image. So the way you do that is when you click on the image, you come up here to edit image, and you want to remove the background. And it sometimes takes a little while to remove. And so then what you want to do is kind of tighten up the parameter, get it super tight. And then as soon as you get it, just hit copy so you have it. You can make this as big as you want. And then you want to come over to your elements. And then, you can do like organic frames or organic lines. So one of the biggest things with Canva is learning all the search terms. So, organic frames, organic lines, So say you want to kind of have half an arm going through and half an arm coming out. So then what you want to do is on top of that, then you hit your paste button. And again, remove your background. And then you want to align it so it kind of covers. And you just kind of want to duplicate it right on top. So you can see he has one arm coming out, this one in, and then if we want to get the legs inside, and you see how it comes in this way? Did you see that? You see how his leg is on the outside and then you can put it on the inside. And then what it does is it kind of makes this leg look like it's coming through the hoop. So you can play around with adding different elements to add dimension to things, and that way it doesn't look as flat. And then, you can add other elements to it. Let's see. And then you can turn things and move it. And then again, if you want to put the paste over it and remove the background and then kind of have his feet on top of the gold. And it really is just a lot of moving, copy, paste, aligning over and over until you get it. And then put it behind. You see how you put his leg behind the gold? And that's called layering. And then if you want to put it on top. So you just gonna keep, you see his leg going in and out. So you just gotta keep moving and trial and erroring. And then I will put a link to layering in the thing so you can go through and play around a little bit more. Let's look at the questions. All right, let's see. You could use a storyboard. Yeah, so they have storyboarding in Canva. So if you go to create, if you want to search for templates and just type in storyboard. You can see all different types of storyboards that you have as a template that you can then edit and then add. So yes, you can definitely do storyboards. Okay. Will you draw an illustration from scratch? No, I am not an illustrator, so I will not be drawing anything from scratch. You can draw in Canva. So it really just depends on your skill. And so I will show you how to do that. Give me a second. So let's. And I always go to the social media template because it's the perfect square. So let's see, let's draw. Hold on one second. So you can use a graph maker. And then let me think how to draw from scratch. I'm definitely not a graphic designer, so I do not draw anything from scratch in Canva. Let's see. I know you can animate and I know you can draw, but I'll have to find a tutorial on how to draw from scratch because I'm trying to find, I have a document with all of my tricks, my shortcuts in there. Let me see if I have it in here. No, I don't, but I can find a tutorial. I am not a designer, so I do not draw anything from scratch. Can you use this for LinkedIn Live? No, you can't use this for, well, you could share your live link on LinkedIn and people on LinkedIn can join, but it's not like StreamYard where you can sync up different platforms and go live on multiple platforms at once. Does that make sense? And it's coolers.co, not .com. You want to make sure it's .co. And yes, does this tool allow you to remove the background from any image? Yes. So pretty much any image. So some of them, I'll show you an example. You can't remove the background image. And this is an example. So this image right here with this like wavy thing and these things, this is just an image. So you delete that, like if you can't change it. You see, it's an actual image. So you can't delete the background on that. Let's see. And it's just that tan color. So it might just move it to white, but some images you can't. You can on that. So the short answer is almost every image allows you to delete the background. Sometimes if the image doesn't, like the 4 image doesn't stand out a bunch, it'll be, the edges will be blurry. But you can pretty much remove the background on pretty much anything. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Can you draw an illustration from scratch? Yes, you can. I'm just not an illustrator. I can find you a tutorial on how to do that. But I just can't. I'm not an illustrator, but I will find you a tutorial if you like to draw. Yeah, so if you have Illustrate or another tool, you can upload into Canva. What's the legality of printed items? So the legality is if you own the image and it's your image and you have permission to use it, it's legal to do. So you can't take somebody else's logo, somebody else's likeness, put it on a mug and sell it. So it's completely legal to use your own stuff, but obviously you can't take somebody else's brand and create assets and then print it or whatever. So that brings us to smart mockups. That's a segue into Octavia's question. So let's see, what can we use for? So let's use, all right, let's use a logo. So the thing is, if you come to apps again, smart mockups are a way to see your images on phone mockups, books, billboards, paintings. So if you sell anything for the home, or if you sell any merch, this is a good way to be able to see what it looks like in person. So let's just type in, well, these are trending. Let's see. Let's see if it, nope, we don't want that. So let's type in smart. And I think they have it as one word. Nope. There it is. Nope. Okay. Where are you? It's in apps. And then you just got to find smart mockups. Ooh, nope. And of course, I'm not going to be able to find it when I'm on. All right, let's try doing it through. All right. Let's see. All right, so say we want to put this on a mug. Let's see if we do it through smart mockups. And I was working on this last night and I thought it was in apps that I found it, but let's use. Nope. All right, let's see if we do it through here again. Let's try. I have my most recent ones. When I was using it yesterday, it was right here in the trending, the first one. I don't see it here. Now it's going to take me how long to find the logos. If you see it and I'm missing it, just shout, come off mute.
Someone says just search mockups.
I found it under templates, I think.
Okay, let's see. We don't want to go home. So these are some examples, but they have an actual gallery where you can put all of the mock-ups. You can see it all at once. And I created a Loom video on it. Let me go on my video and see where I found it. Give me 1 second. So I created a video on it. I guess I didn't. Let's see. So here are some examples of them, but they have an actual place where you can see your designs on like t-shirts, hoodies, books. And I think I had put it in I had made myself a book cover. Here, you see I put myself on a book. Let's see. And it's going to drive me crazy that I can't find it. Hold on, let me check one more place. There's an actual place on the in Canva where you can, over here in this place, I had all of the different there we go. I don't know how it just popped up, but it just popped up. And as you can see here, you have all the different ways you could use your image. So the trick is this has to be an image that you upload to create. So say you wanted to create a hoodie with that image, then it would show it what it looks like on the hoodie. Or if you wanted it on a mug, you can create and see what your design would look like on a mug. And then, you know, they also have ebooks, they have t-shirts, they have some computer ones as well. So if you are an artist and you were selling your image, you know, for a bedroom, they have one here, they have a living room. You know, if you wanted to see it, you know, by a plant, there's all different ways you could take your image and add it. There's also, you know, if you've seen like the digital products where people are selling something and you want to see what it looks like. So if you wanted to see it on And then as you can see it, after so many, it's like you've done too many. So let's, oops, add an image again and try it. And now let's see if it'll show it to me now. Well, I'll send a tutorial on where to find it. I thought it was in here. That's where I used it last night when I was making my little ebook. So we'll go through and I'll give you tutorials on that. And then collaborate in comments. This one is really cool if you have a team and say, you know, you showing somebody and you're like, I am going to, I think I'm going to publish this. And then what you could say is you could collaborate here and say, can you make the colors darker? And then you can tag. So if you hit the @ button, you can tag whoever is in your team. So if you add people and you want them to get the notification, just @ them, and then it'll tag them, and then they can come in here and provide feedback. And this works really great if you are going, you know, if you're going to put a campaign together and you're trying to keep all your assets in one place and everything gets lost in, you know, emails if you're sending back and forth. This works really well to keep everything super streamlined. And then the last one is templating stuff. So if you know, if you decide that you're going to create a social media, let's say if you're gonna create a social media, let's get out of here. And then, you know, say you're, you know, you're creating an asset and, you know, you want to create some templates and that people can use, you know, over and over. So say like you're creating this and then you add in your brand colors. And then you're like, and you know, you're going to use this over and over. What you can do is create everything you want to create, you know, if you wanted to have the same type of post go over and over. And then you could come and say, these are the templates we're always going to use for social media. So all you have to do is go in and then make updates. So change the text, change the reminders, add whatever. But if you want to save them as templates, come down and then choose template. And hopefully I can find it after that mock-up. So then this becomes a template and you can copy it and send it to someone and they can come in and just look at, so that way you're not constantly editing your colors or your font. You can create a set of templates and then use that over and over again. It makes the legwork of creating assets easy because you're not constantly recreating and rechanging your colors. And, you know, if you already have it set up, and then, you know, you don't have to have somebody coming in every time they want to create an asset and changing colors. It'll automatically be a template for you. And then if you want to duplicate it, you just come here and hit this duplicate page and it'll create the same thing. So you can do like new training, and then you have the same look and feel, everything's the same, and you're not constantly going in and changing fonts or colors. So that completes this training. Do we have any, I'll come off